Atop the MAC, Trisha Fabry's women's basketball team traveled to Iona in a rematch of last year's MAC championship. How would 52 combined fouls affect the outcome?
The men's ice hockey team split a weekend series at home against Arizona State. Is it time to hit the panic button?
And the prestigious Q30 Winter Sports Awards will be announced by Chris Stacy. This is Sports Paws.
Everyone, and welcome into Sports Paws. He's Kyle Lavasser, and I'm Brian Schwartz.
Quinnipiac women's basketball had a date with reigning MAC champs Iona on Saturday, but first they faced Niagara at home on Thursday.
And Kyle, you and I were both there, so let's bring you through the action.
Quinnipiac at Lender Court 8-1 at home this year. Their only loss came to Michigan State, a Big Ten team. They have been dominant at Lender Court, but it was going to be Niagara in the first quarter in this one. Victoria Rampado, the Niagara leading scorer, puts Niagara up 14-11 at the end of the first quarter, but it was the Edel Thornton show in this one. She finished with a team high and career high 12 points. She got the layup in that one. Paula Stropmanet with the rebound here, putting Quinnipiac up by 13. She gets the and one, hits the foul shot. Jen Fay is going to join the party, hits a three-pointer of her own, putting the Bobcats up by 19. Quinnipiac would go on to win 61-45. Edel Thornton, what a night post-game.
So that can help us get ready for them on Saturday.
So does the Iron game have a little extra?
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Game rematch, the Quinnipiac Bobcats head to the Heinz Center in New Rochelle to face Iona. Early in the first quarter, Iona kicks the ball out to Alexis Lewis. She knocks down the three. Iona leads early on. Still in the first quarter, Marina Lizarazu drives through the lane, steps back, hits the jumper. She had a big game. They're leading in the first quarter. Now in the second quarter, it's Alexis Lewis. She sinks the three. Alexis Lewis, what a game she had. Almost a double-double in the first quarter. Here's Lizarazu again, almost an identical shot. She hits it. She finished the game with 22 points. Lizarazu, here she goes again. 4 for 4 from three, 24 points. Now on to the second half. Here's Adelie Martucci. Quinnipiac starting to creep back in as she hits the three, but they still only shot 26.9% on the day. Now Lizarazu breaking Martucci's ankles. That's a dagger.
She had a day, Brian.
She had a day. Iona went on to win 58-44. Kyle, there were 52 fouls in this game.
Wow.
Insane amount of fouls. And now we have...
Well, you were there, Brian. 52 fouls. You know who else was there? Women's beat reporter Shane Dennehy. Shane, the women's team does have the highest scoring offense in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, but this past weekend we really didn't see a top scoring option for the Bobcats. Their top scorer on the season is Jen Fay, who's 24th in the MAC in points per game. They don't have a top 20 scorer. Should this lack of a number one scorer concern Quinnipiac?
I really don't think it should be that much of a concern in these lower games in the MAC. Like, they really can handle any team, but then when they get in these big games with Iona, they really needed a basket. Nothing was falling for them, and they really don't have that number one option. You would like to see Aaron McClure, who was the best recruit in this school's history, really step up this year, but she was selected to be on the preseason first team All-MAC, but she averaged 8.6 last year. She's only averaging 6.8 this year. She really needs to step up and take this team by the throat and really drag them. But Iona, Marina Lizarazu and Alexis Lewis did everything all day. They had 46 points combined. Quinnipiac only scored 44, and that really shows that they really need to find someone who can score for them.
And Shane, you and I were both there. We saw Iona just absolutely dominate Quinnipiac in that game. Do you think Iona can keep Quinnipiac from winning the MAC?
Yeah, I definitely think so. They knocked them off last year, but Quinnipiac was without Marina Napolitano, who got hurt in the semifinal game. But honestly, Marina Lizarazu and Alexis Lewis was absolutely incredible, and Quinnipiac, they Adley Martucci, who usually checks the best guard for Quinnipiac, couldn't stop Marina Lizarazu. She was getting in the lane, forcing Quinnipiac's defense to slide over, and she was just finding every open player she could from incredible traps by Quinnipiac. But Alexis Lewis, also, who was Coast's MAC 6 Player of the Year last year, has been filling Joy Adams' shoes this year, has been incredible.
Shane, Iona's top 2 scorers, Marina Lizarazu and Alexis Lewis, outscored Quinnipiac's whole team 46-44. How does this inconsistent shooting affect the Bobcats?
Yeah, definitely. Quinnipiac, like head coach Trish Fabry said multiple times over the past couple of games, that all these missed shots are really getting into our players' heads. And obviously you can see that, but honestly, Quinnipiac, they've had 9 different players lead them in scoring this year, and you really never know who's going to do it for them. Adele Thornton against Niagara, but really, Quinnipiac, they have to find the number one answer in these big games, especially against Iona, if they want to win the MAC tournament and go to the NCAA tournament this year.
Finally, Shane, should we be concerned about this loss?
I really don't think you should be concerned. Last year, they started 0-3 in their first MAC games last year. They lost to Monmouth on the road last year. They lost again this year. And you really thought, like, oh, this is going to get them going. They really thumped Ryder, which was their best performance of the year. And then they had the loss, obviously, to Iona. But they're going to try and get back in action this Thursday against Fairfield on the road.
Shane, thanks for coming in.
No problem, guys.
Tom Moore's Quinnipiac women's basketball team is already just 1 win away from matching last year's complete win total. Men's basketball beat reporter Tom Cunningham is in. We're actually going to hit the highlights. Men's basketball at Monmouth, tough location for road opponents. Monmouth has only allowed 2 home losses since the beginning of last season, and here they are going to get an early lead, up 14-11 in the first quarter. Chris Brady with the layup. Monmouth is now going to get a steal and add a 3-pointer from the corner here, extending their lead to 11. But Quinnipiac going to make a little bit of a comeback. Chase Daniels and Peter Kiss with the putback. Brian, I think we're going to see this one later in top 5 plays.
What a play there.
Quinnipiac only down by 7 at the half, and Peter Kiss, well, he just had a day, a career high 22 points. Love the celebration, but Monmouth was just too much to handle as they hit another 3-pointer for insurance. They'd go on to win 95-76.
Shortly after that, Quinnipiac took on Siena, and Quinnipiac at 5-6 in MAC, Siena at 6-5 coming into this game. Big game with MAC playoff implications. Let's take you right out to the first half, where there's a block shot. Mikey Dixon up the court finds Chase Daniels, who finds Peter Kiss for the. Oh, what a sweet layup by Peter Kiss. Then, still in the first half, it's Marquise Wright with the shot, Levon Long with the offensive rebound, and the putback, that goes in. Still in the first half, Mikey Dixon. He gets the ball here off the screen. There's the tough shot. What a nice play by Mikey Dixon. How great has he been playing? Unfortunately for Quinnipiac, though, it was an 84-75 loss to Siena. Brett Bisping with the dagger on the fadeaway. Just a really tough game for Quinnipiac. It was close throughout, but they ended up losing.
Yeah, Brian, I just got so excited that we were going to see Tom Cunningham on the touchscreen. I forgot we even had to show the highlights for the game. Well, TC was there to break down the freshman on the men's basketball squad. So let's see what he had to say.
Hey guys, Tom Cunningham here. The Quinnipiac men's basketball team has been off to a pretty impressive start here in MAC play this year. They sit at 5-6, tied for 6th in the conference right now, in large part due to freshman standouts Mikey Dixon and Peter Kiss. I'm going to take you through a couple of plays and show why Peter Kiss and Mikey Dixon have been so important to the team this season. We'll start off here against Marist, a MAC game, MAC opponent with Mikey Dixon. So Donovan Smith comes down with the rebound, and you see it here. There's 1, 2, 3 Marist defenders in the screen right here. No Mikey Dixon anywhere to be seen right now. We move forward this play a little bit, and we get it. See, Donovan Smith finds the outlet pass up court, and there's all this space here that Mikey Dixon saw. Donovan Smith was going to get the rebound. Mikey Dixon sprinted forward to get on the fast break here. Here's the final 2 Marist defenders, and look at all this space here between Dixon. I talked to Tom Moore preseason, and he said this team is more athletic than teams he's had in the past, and part of that is going to be they're going to get out and fast break more and get out in transition and score more easy baskets. That is exactly what the athleticism of Mikey Dixon allowed them to do in this play. See Dixon, with all this space between these defenders, goes up, contact on the layup, and gets the bucket in the and one three-point play. Just shows the athleticism of Dixon there. This is later on in that game, so after Peter Kiss has displayed his range on the beyond the three-point line, we get this play later on in the second half. Dixon here inbounding the ball underneath his own basket, and he just is going to lob that ball up, and Peter Kiss started this play beyond the three-point line and sprinted in. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 defenders just watching Peter Kiss as he soars through the air here. We'll watch the end of this play here. Peter Kiss just soars through, jams it home, and that just shows the versatility that these two have. And if these two keep playing at a high level, Tom Moore's team is going to have a great chance to compete for a first-round bye in the MAC tournament for the first time in a couple of years. Guys, back to you.
Should we just wait till break?
Tom Moore's Quinnipiac men's basketball team is already just 1 win away from matching last season's total. Men's basketball beat reporter Tom Cunningham hit the touchscreen to break down the Bobcats. Thanks, Tom. You can find the rest of his analysis on Q30television.com. Coming up, Quinnipiac men's ice hockey celebrated the 10th anniversary of the TD Bank Sports Center. We'll show you how it all went down.
And the nationally ranked number 10 women's ice hockey team has a big game against 9th ranked Princeton tomorrow night. Our beat reporters will preview the game. We'll be right back.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
Welcome into Studio 125.
So what? If you score 40 points in a basketball game, we all know you play Quinnipiac Intramurals. We all know you love to shoot the rock.
Well, if you think that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, what I'm about to say, I guess, is going to be pretty ridiculous in your book. But I'm going to say, yes, there is a controversy.
Line, getting ready to punch the ball as it lands right in front of another Monmouth player.
Coming up on hashtag that. We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team has dominated at home since the TD Bank Sports Center opened in 2007. Quinnipiac tried to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the TD Bank Sports Center with a win against Arizona State. At the TD Bank Sports Center, we're going to see a puck drop to commemorate the 10th anniversary. Quinnipiac President John Leahy, Athletic Director Greg Amodio, and the two captains, Connor Clifton there. And it was going to be Connor Clifton that got the scoring started for the Bobcats at 2-1 after stealing it. Great patience and the snipe. Love the celebration. He's getting the fans into it. Connor Clifton puts Quinnipiac up 1-0. Later in the first period, Quinnipiac on the power play. Here you see it develop. Tanner McMaster enters the zone, drops it back to Thomas Aldworth, but Bo Pieper is there for the rebound. Quinnipiac would extend their lead to 2. And let's head to the third period where Arizona State is going to get on the board here. Tyler Bush finds Wade Murphy for the one-timer. Arizona State down 3-1, but Quinnipiac was going to take this one 5-2, adding 2 third-period goals. You see a bit of a scuffle there. It was pretty chippy the entire game. The teams did not shake hands, leading to an interesting game too, Brian.
I think all 5 guys out there are a crucial part of the power play. I think we've been working a lot on hitting the net, and finally started to click tonight, and it paid its dividends. And so I think if we can just keep doing what we're doing right now, we're going to have a successful power play for the rest of the season.
Let's check out Game 2 against Arizona State from the TD Bank Sports Center. It's the Bobcats and Sun Devils wrapping up Quinnipiac's out-of-conference play. Quinnipiac struggling on second night of weekend series this year, so let's see how they did. Oh, there's a big hit. It's Connor Clifton on that huge hit. Check it out twice. Now, Joe Fiala turns the puck over. Dylan Holman sends it to Anthony Crossan, and Arizona State scores first. 1-0 Sun Devils. Still in the first period, Arizona State on the power play. It's Brinson Pasishnik. 2-0 Sun Devils. Second period now. Arizona State adds another, but Quinnipiac's on the comeback trail. There's Tim Clifton with a power play goal. 3-1 Arizona State now. Now here's some missed opportunities for the Bobcats. Tim Clifton's goal was waved off. There were scrums in front of the net. Kyle, it was ugly as this game went on.
Yes, it was, Brian. The goalie for Arizona State did have 53 saves, so it's going to be tough, but they did have a lot of missed chances.
They did have a lot of missed chances there. As you see, there's another scrum in front of the ice. And Quinnipiac had their chances. 53 of them, of course. But Arizona State came out with a 4-2 win.
Men's ice hockey beat reporter Sierra Goodwill has more on the weekend split.
Quinnipiac welcomed a new program on a historic night on Friday. It was the 10th anniversary of TD Bank Sports Center, and the Bobcats kept the crowd in high spirits with a dominating 5-2 win over Arizona State.
It's been a great run. If you look at our building, like you can't imagine this thing's 10 years old. It looks like it's 2 years old. It's in great shape. Quinnipiac does a great job of keeping it up to date.
But Arizona State had its chance for redemption on Saturday night, and it took advantage, stealing the game 4-2.
They do play these big opponents out west, and they are prepared, and they are a good team. They've seen teams that play like us, and it's not like they came in here and weren't ready to play.
Alex Whalen had the opportunity to tie the game in the first period with this wide open wraparound, but couldn't finish it off.
We've struggled to score goals this year. I think we're second in the country in shots on net.
Joey Dackard, the guy between the pipes for the Sun Devils, stole the show with 53 saves.
He stood on his head and he played great for his team, and that's what kids at this level can do.
No, I thought he was great tonight. I think that was part of it, but we didn't play well. We're running face-off plays and guys are fanning on pucks and guys can't make 5-foot passes, and just we struggled.
A disappointing way for Quinnipiac to end its non-conference schedule for the year, but it has a chance to regroup before getting back to ECAC play this upcoming weekend versus Brown and Yale. Sierra Goodwill, Q30 Sports.
And Sierra Goodwill is now live in studio with more. Sierra, Quinnipiac split a weekend series with Arizona State. You were there for both games. Give us your thoughts on the weekend.
Friday, Brian, this team looked like the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team that we're used to seeing in the past. They were creating tons of chances on the power play. 3 power play goals, so those chances really paid off. They were playing overall a really accurate game, 4 different goal scorers, so the depth of this team really showed. And then on Saturday night, it was a completely different story. It looked like a completely different team out there. They did fire off 55 shots, 2 goals, so you have to credit Arizona State's goalie Joey Dackard, stood on his head for his team, made 53 saves. But the shots that Quinnipiac were taking, there was no traffic in front of the net to put away the rebounds or to really capitalize fully on those opportunities. They couldn't make passes tape to tape. The simplest aspects of the game, it seemed like, were missing from Saturday. So there was a 5-minute major in that game that they weren't able to capitalize on. So overall, they were really just letting opportunities get away from them.
Now, Sierra, Quinnipiac has had some losses against some teams you may not expect. They got swept by Princeton earlier in the year. Now they lost to Arizona State in one game. Is it time to hit the panic button?
I think it is, Kyle. There's 7 games left in the season, all ECAC opponents. It's really a toss-up when conference games. 2 against Yale, it's a rival game, so it could go either way. 1 against the number 2 team in Union, who's really strong. Quinnipiac struggled against them this season. So, yeah, it is time to hit the panic button. Right now, the Bobcats are number 19 in the USCHO.com poll. We all know that's not good enough to make the NCAA tournament right now. So if they do want to get back to that stage, the only chance for them right now is winning the ECAC tournament. And for that, they'd have to get past St. Lawrence or Union, and I just don't see that happening for them.
Well, let's say you did see that happening for them. What would they need to improve to get to that point?
Well, they need to develop consistency is the main point that I'm going to get across here, but goaltending is the biggest issue for them. For me, I think that Andrew Shortridge needs to play consistent minutes. He needs to play knowing that if he lets a goal in or he makes a mistake, he's not going to get pulled out. That isn't letting him play a confident game. That's not letting him play loose. And and that just is a trickle-down effect to the defense. The defense can't play with confidence. They don't have trust in their goalie because they don't know who's behind him, with Chris Toole and Shortridge getting switched out every game, every other game it seems like. So with that, and also finding a goal to score, if that's going to be Tim Clifton, great, but then he needs to demand the puck in big-time situations. And they have the talent to make it back to the NCAA tournament. They just have to develop the consistency and confidence to get there.
Thank you, Sierra, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Quinnipiac women's hockey is tied for 4th in the ECAC after a bit of a rough stretch in conference play. Phil Akery and Matt McAuliffe break down the first half of the season and look towards tomorrow night's game against Princeton.
Thanks, guys. A new semester is upon us, which means the women's ice hockey team is making another playoff push. I'm Matt McAuliffe. Alongside of me is Phil Akery. Phil, let's jump right into it. What was the story in the first half of the season?
It was a good first half of the season for the Bobcats, Matt. They won 7-2-1 in the ECAC. They did what they had to do. They beat the bad teams on their schedule, but they also competed with the elite teams like Clarkson and St. Lawrence. And also you saw TT Cianfrano and Emma Woods combine for 22 goals. TT again carrying this offense, really. She is the leading goal getter and point scorer on the team. Melissa Samoskevich, quiet a little bit. She had 8 goals. Maybe she'll have a breakout in the second half. Also, you saw the breakout of Kenzie Lancaster, who head coach Cassie Turner is extremely happy about to go to as another goal-scoring option. She had a breakout first half after a very quiet freshman season, Matt. But anyways, who do you think needs to step up in the second half, despite the good in the first half?
Yeah, the player that, in my opinion, needs to step up in the second half is the starting goalie, Sydney Rossman. It was a bit of a goalie controversy in the first half where Abby Ives started the game and did fantastic. So if Quinnipiac really wants to repeat as ECAC champions, Sydney Rossman has to step up in the big games and be the brick wall that she is.
Yeah, you said it, Matt. You know, I think the one thing they need to fix as a team, not just one player, is they need to start showing up to these big games. You know, against Clarkson, the best team in the ECAC, really, and the reigning national champions, they lost 4-1 at home. They got blown out, embarrassed at home. They lost a very tough game to St. Lawrence, another great team in the ECAC, 1-0, a heartbreaker. They lost to Princeton 3-2, a game they really should have won, and they had it in their hands. And they also lost a crushing heartbreaker in OT to 3-2 to Cornell. But who do you think, as a team, what do they need to fix?
The big thing that they need to fix as a team, in my opinion, is they have to capitalize on scoring chances. They've shot the puck at the net 804 times and only scored 70. That ratio needs to be stronger if they want to win these big games.
Yeah, and also, I think the biggest game to watch in the second half is against St. Lawrence. This Quinnipiac team only lost 1-0 to them. And if they can beat St. Lawrence on the road, where Quinnipiac is 10-3-2, fantastic road mark, that's going to be a big confidence booster, and it might be just enough to give them the push to go far in the playoffs.
Confidence, poise, determination. That's what women's ice hockey needs in order to repeat as ECHC champions. That's you guys at the desk.
Matt and Phil, always great work, but I think you got to stick with the women's ice hockey beat reporting. We saw McAuliffe in the halftime competition at the women's basketball game the other day. 0 for 11, Brian, for the halftime competition.
Matt McAuliffe, what was up with that?
0 for 11 from the free throw line.
He jumped from the free throw line. Come on.
Well, when we come back, Chris Dacey will award the MVP, biggest surprise, and all the other 230 Winter Sports Awards.
And you won't want to miss the top 5 plays. You won't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
All this and more.
Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
All this and more.
Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Jessica Lee continues to stand out on the women's track team. Lee has now come in first place in all 4 of her 60-meter hurdle races this season. This time she outran 77 other hurdlers at the Terrier Invite in Boston. Also, freshman rugby player Mika Maples showed she can compete on the field and on the track. While Maples won a national championship with the women's rugby team this fall, she is also throwing for the women's track team. And boy, did she not disappoint. In her very first meet, Maple set a program record of 12.23 meters in the shot put. Next for the Bobcats, they drive down the road to New Haven for the Geigengag Invitational.
The Quinnipiac women's tennis team traveled to Amherst to take on UMass Saturday. The Minutewomen defeated the Bobcats 6-1. Sydney Young won 2 games for Quinnipiac. Young defeated Martina Bocci in straight sets 7-5 and 6-1. Not quite Serena Williams, but impressive nonetheless. The Bobcats next face Seton Hall February 11th.
After going 3-0 in the fall season, men's tennis lost its first match of the season Saturday, getting swept by South Carolina 7-0. However, Quinnipiac rebounded on Sunday, defeating Boston University 4-3, picking up its first win of the spring season. Freshman Axel Stern clinched the win for the Bobcats, winning a singles and doubles match. Kei Izaka also picked up his 127th career win. Izaka is now tied for 3rd all-time in the program history and is just 10 wins behind the all-time leader.
Well, Kyle, it has been an interesting winter sports season so far. Teams up and down the standings, players starring and underperforming.
That's right, Brian. Our very own Chris Dacey has the Q30 Winter Sports Awards. Chris?
Hello, thank you all. And welcome to the Q30 Winter Sports Awards. I'd like to thank the sports department and the cabinet for letting me host this year's awards. Now we have many great awards here today. I have MVP of the season, Best Freshman, Biggest Surprise, and Best Comeback Player of the Year. Now let's get things started off with the MVP. For MVP, there was a lot of great candidates this year, but I had to go with Mikey Dixon of the men's basketball team. The reason I think he's the MVP is because he leads this team in scoring as a freshman. He also leads all MAC freshmen in scoring in the conference. And ever since he was put into the starting lineup, it's been like it's a new team this year for the Bobcats. He's been a spark off into that starting lineup along with Pete Kiss, and it's just been a different team that is 1 win away from tying their total wins last year overall and total wins in the MAC. And like I said, he's only a freshman. He's got 3 more years. Pretty exciting stuff for Tom Moore and for this program going forward. Speaking of freshmen, our next award is for Best Freshman. I give that honor to Brogan Rafferty of the men's ice hockey team. I give this to him because he leads this team in assists, and he's tied for 6 in ECAC hockey with 18 assists. Also, he's been a very nice bright spot for this team who's been struggling a lot this year. And like a lot like Mikey Dixon, he is a freshman, so he has 3 years left. Future's looking bright for him and Rand Pecknell. This award is the Biggest Surprise Award. The biggest surprise goes to the men's ice hockey team. for not being the biggest surprise, in my opinion, but they've been the biggest disappointment, which has been surprising. After going to the Frozen Four and the national championship for the second time in 4 years, this team has had a long fall from the top. They are now 14-11-2 on the season, 8-6-1 in ECAC play, which is good for 4th in that conference. With the goalie controversy and the power play woes, it's just been a long season for Ren Pecknold and his team. I know they lost a bunch of good key players from last year, but after going that far, you just expect a little bit more. Now, on to my 4th award is the Comeback Player of the Year. And there's only one player that comes to my mind when I think of this award, and that is the women's basketball player, Jen Fay. I say this because Jen Fay sat out last year with an ACL injury, and now she's come back this year and led this team in scoring. She's been a spark off the bench at the beginning of the season. She started a few games, but she's definitely been carrying this team offensively. There's been players that have been struggling, like Paws. She has not been shooting well from 3. Carly Fabry has been struggling to put the ball in the basket, but Jen Fay has been carrying this team and will continue to do so in a likely MAC championship for this team, as they are in first place, and they will get that NCAA bid with that championship. Now, with that being said, that's all the awards we have for today. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and thank you again for everyone for giving me this opportunity. Have a great night.
Well, Brian, we just saw the top the top athletes in the winter sports season. Now let's check out the top 5 plays of the week. It's everybody's favorite time. Top 5 plays of the week brought to you by B&D Deli. Open for breakfast and lunch. Come on in and try the Quinnipiac Panini or the Q-Dog sub. Brian, I'll get things started with number 5 in this one. The preseason MAC Player of the Year, Marina Lizarazu, crosses up Adelie Martucci and gets a number 5 play.
Number 4 men's basketball at Iona. It's Peter Kiss for 3. Money, of course. Peter Kiss was the MAC Rookie of the Week.
She's a beauty, that number 3. Connor Clifton, the wrecking ball. Oh, lays the lumber on an Arizona State player. He's going to be down after that one.
Number 2, here's Monmouth's Justin Robinson. Peter Kiss, no match on defense. Robinson back from 3. Money. Justin Robinson was 7 for 22 on the night.
Well, you know, Brian, Peter Kiss might have been crossed up in that one, but he gets the last laugh here with the putback dunk. Peter Kiss wins the top play of the week as well as the MAC Rookie of the Week award.
And to find all our talented beat reporters' work as well as the rest of our general staff members, follow at Q30 Sports on Twitter. And for the latest on everything Quinnipiac sports news, follow at sports_paws on Twitter.
And make sure to check out our website at www.q30television.com. For Brian Schwartz, I'm Kyle Lavasser. We'll see you next time.